Nvidia, the stock is doing amazing year to date. It's up almost 100%. On today's episode, what I want to do is take a closer look at some recent updates. Google just recently announced a new supercomputer. We also saw that Nvidia might be increasing its orders from Tsmc. A lot more in today's episode. Let's get started. So, like I mentioned, Nvidia is up a nice amount. Obviously, what's fueling this company right now is this AI market push. Even though I am a shareholder of Nvidia, and like I mentioned, this is one of my top holdings, if not my top holding. It really depends on the day, but it's a company that I believe in the short term has become kind of scary in forms of valuation. That valuation scare doesn't make me sell at all. But it just kind of reminds me and tells me, Jose, with the current market cap of $705 billion, earnings coming up within a week, this is a stock that can be very, very volatile. So be prepared for either a big drop or some big gains because the company is definitely priced to perfection to some extent. So before we go in the updates, I just want to share that, right? Nvidia is not a company that I would go and personally, right, every investor is different, but this is not a stock that with current market valuations I would go and buy a big share. This is something that maybe I would dollar cost average over time, especially with earnings coming out. So in the short term, I believe this can go any way. I do believe in the long term of things, though, Nvidia is going to maintain to be one of my best performers in my portfolio. So let's start off with some recent news. The company did announce that their earnings are going to be on May 24th at 2 p.m. Shout out to my dad. My dad's birthday is on May 24th, so hopefully he might give us some good luck and we might have some great earnings there. Kind of fast forwarding into some other updates, we did see Google yesterday, or May 10th, they did do their I.O. event, which was filled with a lot of generative AI and just AI push. They also talked about a supercomputer or supercomputers that they have, the A3 supercomputers. They're going to have supercomputers of different sizes in different locations, but they are powered with NVIDIA's H100 GPUs, and the overall purpose is to be built for AI workloads, right? And I think this is a great segment of an article or a video I did a few weeks ago when the media was going crazy that that Google was creating their own TPUs and was going to end their need for GPUs. I kind of said these two are chips that are going to live together and serve different purposes. I still believe that. And Google came out here with these A3 supercomputers, which are going to be powered by NVIDIA GPUs. So I think my stance still stays that NVIDIA GPUs are still going to be a dominant player in the clouding market, especially for AI and just general computing purposes as well. Very similar to the CPU for a long, long time, right? Even though these big tech giants are releasing their own silicon, I don't think they're gonna rid themselves of the need of Nvidia or any of these other semiconductor solutions for a long, long time. So if we take a closer look at these A3 supercomputers, they do mention that these supercomputers are filled with like small nodes of 8 H100 GPUs. They're also filled with next generation Xeon processors, which are the Sapphire Rapids. So it does seem like this partnership with NVIDIA and Intel is working really well with Intel right now, as they are definitely seeing a nice growth here in the server side thanks to NVIDIA's partnership for their DGX system. They talk a lot about all these cool products that these nodes are being built for these supercomputers. And for those that are looking at it, you might be like, hey, these look very familiar. And it has a very, very similar layout to NVIDIA's DGX H100, which over here we can see kind of has the same amount of products that we just saw before. So it does seem like NVIDIA, even if they're custom making some of these DGX H100s, they're doing really well at selling these infrastructures. And the great thing here is, right, NVIDIA has numerous products of themselves within these DGXs, not just the GPUs, right? They usually sell things like their network switching, thanks to the Mellanox acquisition, and other kind of solutions that NVIDIA has for the data center market. More importantly, obviously, their software side. So I think this was a great news for NVIDIA. It kind of shows that, hey, this partnership with Google and probably all these cloud server providers is going to continue, and they're going to continue to buy off NVIDIA's GPUs for a long, long time. And before we go any further, if you want to support the channel, there's 3 ways you can do it. First, just make sure to hit the subscribe, the thumbs up, and just leave me a comment if you are an Nvidia investor or are you short Nvidia right now. The second way is if you want to learn more about the semiconductor market, I have an amazing membership. Make sure to click the join button. I have weekly videos there talking and explaining the semiconductor space.
Finally, I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
There was a pretty cool article by HPC Wire which kind of broke down these A3 supercomputers a lot more. They do mention that these supercomputers on the top end can have roughly 26,000, let me repeat that again, 26,000 NVIDIA H100 Hopper GPUs. They do mention that some of their largest customers might want those A3 supercomputers, but not all locations will be scaled up to those sizes. Some might be a lot smaller. So I think that's pretty interesting. Again, it just continues to show that these DGX systems that NVIDIA created for their infrastructure solutions are definitely making a great headway. So that definitely could be beneficial for the company's upcoming earnings. At the same time, we did see that NVIDIA stock, like I mentioned, is up over 100% year to date. So the real question is not if NVIDIA is going to do well in their data center. I do believe NVIDIA is going to do well in their data center. It's more just, are they doing more than what the market expects? And that's where it gets tricky, right? There was another article here from Next Platform where it kind of talks about the AI hype and how it's driving GPU prices to sky high levels. We are seeing kind of this huge demand, and I don't know if it's a shortage of GPU products. We'll probably hear a lot more during their earnings call. But the demand is so high at the moment that certain prices for these GPU products, both NVIDIA's current generation, the H100, and their previous generation, the A100, are seeing a nice price increase. The only thing that worries me here, and again, we'll have to see, in the back of my mind, I'm just seeing that this AI push is just kind of the new crypto push to some extent, where in the crypto market, we did see a huge demand of NVIDIA's consumer graphics card. Now we're seeing it here with their data center graphics cards, right? This AI push is definitely kind of causing this huge demand to build up. What I'm worried though is in future quarters, these big tech giants are going to be like, hey, maybe we purchased a little too many GPUs right now. Now it's time for these inventory corrections, and we're going to have to slow down on purchases. And we're going to see this inventory correction in the data center side, very similar to how we saw it, or we're seeing it right now in the consumer side. On the bright side, though, I do want to say AI, opposed to the crypto, has a lot more use cases. So if there is going to be some cyclicality there, or if this AI is really going to just go away out of nowhere, I think the chances of that happening are a lot less. And I do believe, like I mentioned, AI tends to have a lot more use cases than just crypto mining or these crypto usage that were happening. So there is a probability that while things can go down, these over inventory corrections can happen. I don't think it's going to be as hard as we saw with the crypto market, but I think every investor should keep that in the back of my mind when investing in a company like NVIDIA. Now, the final thing I want to take a closer look is this article from DigiTimes Asia. They did mention that NVIDIA places additional orders requiring TSMC's COWOS. And for those not familiar with COWOS, this is this is TSMC's chip on wafer on substrate. So this is a special type of packaging of semiconductors, and packaging is pretty much the building of chips, and these are usually used for their advanced GPUs like the A100. I'm pretty sure it's used for the H100. So it does seem like NVIDIA at the moment is seeing a lot more demand for their H100s, that they're coming out to TSMC and saying, hey, look, we're going to need a lot more orders. again, it kind of brings me back to that worry, right? We saw it about a year ago where Nvidia, and due to this chip shortage, they went to Tsmc, they kind of over ordered inventory, and it was doing good because they had the demand, but then out of nowhere, that demand kind of slowed down. So again, that worry is always there. They do mention that this might overall be a nice, TSMC might have a hard time kind of meeting this extra demand because it's a very, very tight supply product. We'll have to see. We'll have to find out more from Nvidia and management on how they're dealing with this kind of huge demand in the AI space. Because I know management is super smart. They're outweighing the pros and the cons because they have, I want to say, a few actions that they can take. The first action is they can just continue their supply as needed and not meet up with demand. Unfortunately, if they do that, a competitor like AMD might take the opportunity to grab market share, right? And unfortunately, that might not be what Nvidia wants. The second thing that Nvidia can do would be, hey, increase their supply to meet the demand. And that's a great news because it will kind of prevent AMD from taking market share in the GPU market. Unfortunately, that comes with risk. The risk there is if the over inventory correction begins for data center and AI products, Nvidia is going to be left over with a lot of inventory. So I think Nvidia's management is trying to outweigh this. And again, I do believe we'll probably hear a lot more during their earnings call. As an investor, like I mentioned, I believe Nvidia in the long term will be and will remain the king here, or the crown holder in the AI market. I just do believe in the short term of things can get very, very volatile. So I hope you guys enjoyed this very quick update of Nvidia. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.